and I've also worked on creating a second brain with Obsidian, um, which I will also get on my Git as soon as there's something viable.
Ah, awesome.
Um, yeah, too many projects,
Too
but
many
that's what the
projects.
tracker is for.
That's what the
So
tracker's for. The project tracker. All right. So, uh, and I'm going to repeat this so that the class hears, but also so that the little Neek inside my head hears this. Um, those projects are awesome. I love those projects. Those projects can also be intense uh time sinks when we work on meta tracking projects or like brain, second brain projects. There's there it, we hit this sort of like abstract subjectivity like loop, right? So make sure that you have clear defined goals within those projects. I love them. I am addicted to those sorts of projects. I probably start one or two of those sorts of projects every week. That being said, I start one or two of those sorts of projects every week. Do I? How many have I finished? Right. So that be like, keeping all this in mind, not trying to put a dampener on the projects that you're working on personally. I just know that that's like a rabbit hole that I consistently find myself stuck in. So give yourself objective goals within those projects so that you know when the second brain is finished or when the project tracker is finished, because yeah, the project tracker is the most important project in the project tracker, and uh, yeah, it can get so yeah, those like meta, we get stuck in, and I'm not talking about Facebook meta, I'm talking about the prefix meta, those sort of metacognitive projects. I love them, but also like my distracted brain fears them in a healthy way. Uh,
yeah, I'm setting strict objective and time boundaries to work on them,
Wonderful.
uh,
Yeah,
as to not go into the rabbit hole for because those are my two main projects right now.
that's wonderful. Yeah, so also when they are your main projects, it kind of like conjures the question of um are these hobby projects, or is there a goal uh within the project? You could totally be passionate about the code. It can be an interest. It can be something that you love to do. It could feel it could give you that dopamine rush, like playing video games or like doom scrolling or whatever. But also, we just came from job stand up, so we're priming our mind for sort of the like vocational passion. Like what are you doing to like
Oh, this is my
actualize?
life objective. This is my life objective right now to
Beautiful.
get this running. Yeah,
I love to hear it. So we have this
and
temp. Oh, sorry, what was that? All right, people are cutting out, the campus is going crazy. It's learn to code day. It's Wednesday. um uh we are trying to take this from a toy to not a product per se, because that word is a little bit scary, but something that can be used uh and tightening our AI coding dev workflow, right? So the template farm that we have right now, we hook into Claude API. What are you trying to build, right? Uh, and we can come up with something. Um, uh, a dog walking app for my local neighborhood. neighborhood. Um, and then Claude thinks for a while, and it gives us back a stack, or it's going to be React Native. It's a recipe. It's not writing the program for us, but it's giving us basically the boilerplate, the foundation to start that project. And this is the project that we work on. So back on that sort of like meta tip of like we're working on a project that tells you how to work on the project, that tells you how to work on the project, ad infinitum. But uh, what? How are we feeling about it so far? Right, we had one day of sort of coding it, of working with Claude to get it up to the point that it is. Uh, uh, what I want to open this up as like a discussion to the class since we're kind of building this together. Is this a toy? Is this a tool? Is this a product? How do we feel about it? Right? What is the uh? Let's kind of, oh, is this a toy, a tool, or a product? What is the moment where this becomes useful? All right. That's a better question to ask when you're building things, and maybe my head's in the way for the what is the moment where this becomes useful? And feel free to mic up. We're talking about template farm, uh, but this could also be good to think about with your personal projects. Like, is it a toy? Is it a tool? Is it a product? What's the moment when this becomes useful? And I feel like we avoid uh, we use this term toy in like a pejorative, disparaging way sometimes, when in reality toys are great. If you build a game, if you build a shader toy, if you build something that makes life more fun, but maybe isn't like the logical, like left brain code that you're used to seeing from a project. Like, toys are great. We are moving towards the expanding novelty in all senses of the word, right? So, but right now, thinking about our template for farm tool, but maybe not until it can reliably improve on a plan. So somebody in the chat saying, like, I know it can make a plan, but can it improve a plan? Yes, I think that's good to think about. Um, any other?
Actually established a really drawn out plan for how to get my project done, and it's ready to be put in the tool if it doesn't have like a text limit.
Cool. So, what is your project in mind? Do you have like a? Can I like copy the text somewhere and throw it in here? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I've got one on GitHub, which is like everything that I've done so far. And then my recent iteration, which was literally this morning, found that what I was trying to do with like a swarm of agents was not necessary, and that I could just have an agent accessing already created infrastructure.
All right. Is there like a README or something that I can really quickly
There,
copy?
there is. Well, hold on. I copied and pasted it into an email. Can I send the email?
Yeah.
Or
Trying to figure
where
out
should I send it?
uh maybe we do the element. Are you in the element chat?
Oh, yeah, I could probably just copy and paste it into the element.
All right,
Da,
cool.
da, da.
We'll figure that out. So what are we doing right now for the class for people that are kind of unaware? Someone in the class has a project that they're working on where they have a description of it. They have some text that is thoughtful and robust enough that we can feed it into this template farm that we've made as the user input, which is the project idea. And then maybe our template will output a recipe for them to our template farm will output a recipe for them to follow to build this thing, right? And so where all right, so it's in the learn to code. All right, and it is long, but it's good. All right, so this is a swarm. We have uh barrier registry currently has 351 blah 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 blah. All right, so yeah, it's the healthcare
So,
thing.
so the first one was the long version that was going to take so much energy, and the second one, the only reason I thought of it is because of what Gabby was talking about. Also, my life's work at the moment, and I'm planning to put like 3 hours a day. The second clip of text that's in there is what we came out with on our own after I basically talked to Claude about the template farm, and he was like, "Yeah, we do that. Let's do that."
Wonderful. All right.
So
Well, we'll
the
see if our
second one is
little
the improved one.
yeah. So this is where we actually kind of like put our tokens where our mouth is seeing where is this a toy, a tool, or a product. I have a feeling this will show us kind of the limitations of what we built with this template farm. So we can plant the seed. That's awesome. I love this the progress that you've made on this idea. So stack, it's saying Python with fast API, SQL Alchemy, SQLite, Qdrant. I do not know what that is. Are you familiar with Qdrant? This is high performance vector search at scale. Helps you build AI retrieval, ship high performance full feature vector tech at any scale. All right. So it's like a AI data layer situation. Olama, which you wrote about in this this text input, and Claude API. Claude's kind of repping himself there. PyTest and PyDantic. PyTest, I think, is just a framework that makes it easy to write tests. Yeah, and then PyDantic, most widely used data validation library for Python. So this stack makes sense, right? Right? We got our we got Olama, we got Claude API. That doesn't make the most sense, but we'll see. So it's saying Python with
I
fast.
had
Sorry,
sorry.
what were you saying?
Lag is the worst. I'm so sorry. I had Claude go to Moltbook and ask the other agents for advice, and this is what came back.
Wonderful. The text that we just input is what came back. So you're getting input from the swarm on the swarm. All right, so that's cool. Also, Moltbook hygiene, never access to your API keys. Sandbox your Moltbook Claudes or whatever AIs you have connected there. Sandbox them well. I haven't seen much about Moltbook since January, but maybe that's just because there was that moment in late January, February, and then it kind of I don't know, fizzled out a little bit, but I do need to check up on it again. All right, so Python with fast API, blah blah blah. All right, and then it's giving you the scaffold to set up the project. Would this build the project? I don't know. It would set up the scaffolding for the project. There's a lot of extra steps after there. It's giving you the recipe for the foundation. We're setting up a virtual environment in Python, and then it sets up a requirements text somewhere in here. Uh, I am suspect of this recipe that Claude's giving us. We could test it out now, but I feel like these some of these libraries are huge and could just make my computer crash when it's like I would be like trying to set up local LLM as I'm teaching and streaming. It's kind of not a good idea. I give it a C minus on this on this this seed planted, this plant. I don't know, what are we even calling them. I think that we're getting lost in the Stardew aesthetic. How does the class feel about this? Are more technologically versed people looking at this scaffolding for a uh this swarm, this AI agents that report to users finding U.S. healthcare policies. Uh, Honestly, it looks okay. You could drop PyTest, but it is useful. Why drop PyTest? You have something against it? It's assuming there's a code done. All right, this is a good point to make. Who said that? Gabby. Yeah, it's assuming that we have this registry repo to clone. So part of the scaffolding is like, and here is the built room of the. It'd be like if you saw like if you've ever seen like a building getting made and it's expected for like a truck to just roll up with like an office fully built in it to like add to that skyscraper or whatever. And yeah, anti teeny tiny text window. I mean it's smaller on my screen. We can make it bigger. You know, it's I have a giant monitor in front of my face, so I'm sorry. What I'm kind of against is like Pokemon. Uh, the text is as legible as it is. It like it's a lot of text in this font that but it's whatever. Is there a class on setting up a secure local LLM? I think so. Yeah. There is a video on the YouTube account. If you're watching the YouTube, that it's hard to make prescient, timely videos on setting up local LLMs that aren't like kind of deprecated within a month or two, right? So yeah, I mean there's all right, so all UX or all UI stuff aside, I like the little mouse. I just noticed that too. The cursor is like a Mickey Mouse hand. um Chosen, yeah, the chosen stack and frameworks are reasonable but heavy. Yeah, we did not see the entire input. If you want to see the entire input, ask your friend Kat, or look at the learn to code um room in the matrix chat. It's there right now. But yeah, it's hard to judge an entire output when you can't see the entire input. I get that. uh is this response, this scaffolding, enough to be useful as a tool? Like, does it give the template farm credence? Does it give it a reason to be a project that's out there? So I don't know. Some things to think about when we're working on this project. Uh, so uh, one thing I notice. All right, it's it's kind of like you're describing something, AI invents the setup, right? I agree with whoever in the class mentioned that the first line of the scaffolding is git clone barrier registry repo. So it's like immediately cloning the a registry repo that it's assuming exists, you know?
That's my registry repo that I've already created.
All right, so you already created this. This is somewhere in the text of the input.
Couple months, and the reason it's got all this framework for creating or accessing is the verification. So down way down farther in the text, it'll actually show like, hey, we don't need models at all. We actually just need access to like these 7 sites that if you can gain a certain level of trust or access from the federal government, they'll let you into. And I did some research and they'll let anybody into that. So it's changed the whole project. But when it talks about barrier registry, I only had it test under 1,000. I think it was like under 500 even, because we went from successfully passing like 14 tests a day to successfully passing 125 tests a day. And it was supposed to show how this would work for other states, or I'm sorry, other countries. But until the US is successfully mapped, there's no point to trying to scale that with a translator to somebody else. Let me know if that's too in the weeds, but like it's there. It's finally there. It's just not searchable by a user yet. That's not
Wonderful.
me.
All right, so yeah, the repo does exist. This is a thing that was in your input. I'm sorry, I didn't, we didn't go through the entire input, so I wouldn't know that exists.
Barrier registry on GitHub. I just
So
put the short one.
that changes things kind of significantly. Takes my grade up from a C minus to a C plus. I'll tell you that much. For the output, not your input. Your input's wonderful. That's great. So the core tension that I see with applications like this, that I see with using AI to code just in general, is this sort of process that we get in where we describe something and then AI invents the setup for it, or we prompt and we get the application, right? It's so powerful, but there is instability in that like call and response that we're setting up, right? So something I've noticed in my own code, in the code for the template farm too, getting a little meta now again, right? The AI Claude, if you're asking questions to ChatGPT still, which is a ridiculous way to code at this point, but you could still use the War Machine app, I guess. Is AI is very flexible, very sycophantic, and very inconsistent, right? Templates kind of need that rigidity. Code kind of needs that rigidity. It needs to be reliable. There needs to be deterministic, and I'll make this whoa, that's huge. We don't need it. Maybe 28. Deterministic? Yeah. Deterministic. So determinism in code. Deterministic in code, right? It's just a property where a system or algorithm always produces the same output, right? And obviously, like with this, application, we're taking in different inputs and expecting different outputs from the template farm, right? But the behavior still needs to be reliable. Like, we need to have a working template come from this template farm, and that is hard to do. We're hitting like a philosophical wall with our design, right? So deterministic things, like outputs are reliable. Basically, outputs are reliable. We want a deterministic program where the outputs are reliable. So a couple questions for the class to ponder. Feel free to answer them. Um, Feel free to answer them on mic or in the chat. Have you ever used AI code that looked right but failed? All right. So have you ever used AI code in a project that looked right but failed? Yes.
I was thinking about the input that we gave it. Sorry, a bit off topic. And like, I don't know if the response is given that it's giving it fits the input that we're putting, because the way that we built the app, it was to create something. And in this case, if the if the code is already done, what's the specific question that we're asking it here?
So part of the code is done, which is the registry repo. This is like
Yes.
from my understanding of it, and correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, uh, but yeah, so the repo is essentially just a data registry. So we're pulling that data. What we want to build, what it's templating out, is actually like agent swarm architecture. Um, is that right, Kat? Or who is the original author of this?
It's GAP. Three branches: registry, swarm, and membership.
Yeah, so there is something to be built here. Um, and this barrier registry repo is just the data, right? Um, so
Yeah, but in this case, we should be getting an output of how to create the agents, if that's what we're looking for.
that's kind of what the scaffolding is setting up, right? You're creating a program that's like becomes the container for Olama, for your Claude API, and then that's kind of what it's setting up. It's not setting up the code for that specific project, but it's giving the sort of template, the boilerplate for agent swarm model that pulls from this barrier registry. Uh, I don't know if it's doing it the most effectively. I haven't tested this code. I can't test it during class because it's gonna start like installing a bunch of like overpowered frameworks to my computer. But I thought it might have been able to suggest or generate what I was able to get to in the second post. All right. So more stuff. What this means for the swarm: the scanner agent barely needs AI. It should mostly be hitting open states. All right. Um, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's there. I think like we could get into the weeds of this specific project. Um, again, I think that like this goes back to the sort of the discussion prompt of like using AI code that looks right but fails. This scaffolding might look right and it probably will fail, right? That's more so the point that I'm trying to make here. So in a project like this, another question you kind of have to ask yourself is is when do you want creativity versus reliability or versus predictability or reliability predictability. All right, so when do you want creativity versus predictability? This is something for us to chew on for a second. um and we're smiling and we're thinking. My audio is looping. Oh man, is it looping in the YouTube or is it just looping in campus? Yeah, campus has been a nightmare lately. I think it's because we just have more people in it. Fine in YouTube. Cool. Go to the YouTube. The YouTube is unless you really really want to be on mic, the YouTube is the nice place to be. So when do you want creativity in code versus predictability, right? uh and uh I think it's when we're building tools, the template farm is a tool, right? Good tools reduce uncertainty, right? They shouldn't introduce it. I could come up with probably infinite ways in which following a template provided to you through AI could introduce uncertainty into your project, right? I mean, even just the base level of of you know, getting into the project, like and starting the project, and then bringing AI scaffolding to set it up on your machine. That's introducing uncertainty because you don't know whether it's going to work or not in the first place, right? So I think something that would help this application as a template farm, not the application within the application, which is the swarm architecture that we inputted, is that we add some sort of failsafe that reduces reliance on the AI, right? And I know that's like a weird sell to this class right now because it's like we're all like about finding AI solutions for our projects. Uh but I've ran into this problem time and time again when building my own projects. It's that uncertainty multiplies, right? Especially when we're working on projects where there is a lot of uncertainty. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is come to AI with a unclear idea of what you're trying to build and expect predictability, a reliable resource from that session. Um, and I'm not saying that the input that we took in this specific swarm architecture example is unclear. I think it's very clear. I don't think the output is necessarily what we want. Do people build swarm architecture solutions for whatever their use cases are? Yes, there definitely is a bunch of content like that out on the internet. Going back to what we were talking about on Monday, you know, Stack Exchange use has plummeted since the advent of AI, right? And when you go to Stack Exchange now to find solutions for these nuanced problems, you're on the fringes of building, you know, on the bleeding edge of tech, right? Um, the the responses are worse than they were to, what the bleeding edge tech was in 2018 or 2019 because of an over reliance on AI in the first place, right? So, what I kind of want to nip in the bud is we're building this template farm, right? I want to get into this like meta dark design pattern that I see kind of unfolding for developers, for coders that are beginning in this time, learning in this time, building in this time, or some are senior level engineers who are now turning to AI to help them build things. And it's, as much as it's a huge like inspiring moment where the tech is moving quickly, and we can, our output has like, exponentially increased orders of magnitude of projects I'm able to generate now that AI exists. Sometimes it produces the application equivalent of, the 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 Miyazaki slop, like it's not a working application. It's not a working scaffolding. It's not something that you should tie people's medical data to. It's not something that you should trust your users' future paychecks with, and that, I think, is something that, we have to kind of like work it into our systems and work together as coders in these collective communal spaces to keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening and to avoid dark design patterns in general. Because what this site could easily turn into, something like this cute little template farm, is an idea stealing honeypot, right? Like, there's nothing stopping us from attaching like a user flow system to it. And every time somebody types, what are you trying to build? We save the information that's put into the site, not to offer a better experience for the user, but to have an inventory of ideas that we could then build our own projects based off of, right? There's also like just the actual like greed of it could be built into the dark design, right? Not even stealing people's ideas, but more so, oh, you planted 3 template seeds, now you gotta pay for an account, you gotta subscribe to us, and every seed after that is $5, sorry about you. And there's tons of AI wrapper sites that are, when you peel back the veil, it's just a Claude API. It's just, a ChatGPT wrapper. And this isn't really like,
That's what I mean by this app kind of has a fundamental issue. So like we've just built a Claude, right? But we're trying to get a different experience out of it. So I think we need more interactivity from this application. Like I mentioned earlier that maybe it should be more Socratic and try and get an idea out of you collaboratively rather than you just put something in there and it spits something out as if it were Claude anyway.
Yes. Who was that? I can't see people's names.
I'm Mr. Nevermore.
Mr. Nevermore. Oh, Mr. Nevermore. Yes, cool. You're in your voice finally. I've been seeing your text. I've been seeing your code. Yes. So this is the point that I wanted to kind of like exercise, both exercise and exorcise, like a exorcist out of us, right? Is we need to do something more here. We cannot just be an AI wrapper, because first and foremost, the AI wrapper doesn't really do a great job at scaffolding. But second, we're using this like Stardew Valley communal farm, solar punk, like pixel like template. There should be a user base. There should be people sharing ideas, right? So we can move it into this place of like, instead of relying solely on the AI, we reduce AI reliance of our application, and build it into a community, right? So if there is somebody who also had a swarm architecture uh, build, then when Cat went to input their seed and they planted their seed in the template farm, uh, they would also be like linked to related public uh, repositories or seeds that other people have planted through the app. So users could have some like you'd have an AI generated response, and then also maybe known templates of other people that are working on similar projects. And it wouldn't just need to be in template farm. We could do a little bit of like research. We could do a little bit of data scraping of open source and public repos on GitHub. We already have Claude pulling all these frameworks when the user plants the seed. We could also seed our own data onto the site, that helps drive the spec in a way that's not completely reliant on the AI output at the moment of output generation, and will probably make for a more communal uh sort of response from our website, and the outputs will be more reliable, right? So I think this is when sort of the system becomes real, right? This is when it's like, you know, the system is, we have like users interacting with each other, right? And that it's not so much a dark design pattern, but it's a systems thinking uh, kind of thought spiral or trap that we get stuck in. Just like we have this like issue with like metacognitive projects and patterns where the project is planning the project. We also have this issue of reliance on the monolith. When we set up a project like this where it's only connected to the Claude API, we're depending on a single external service. We are essentially a wrapper for that single external service. So now we have a designy question that kind of I'll need help from the class answering. So in the case that we're like kind of reducing our reliance on AI, what does that look like to y'all? Like, why? How would we build that out? Is that community contribution? Is that some? Is that like kind of building a template farm GitHub situation? Like, what? How is trust dealt with on the template farm? No wrong answers here. We're gonna brain dump and get this thing going here. But feel free to mic up or post in the chat. All right, so I'll post the question here too. All right. Bu, 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 bu. How All right. So these are all questions that we should start answering uh to ourselves. All right. So when you involve community like that, it's no longer a tool, it's kind of a product. All right. So there we go. Running locally versus SaaS. Somebody says I haven't been able to mute here. If you right click the tab, if you're on desktop, if you right click the tab, you can mute the entire tab. If you're on mobile, I do not know. Uh, Mac, I think you could right click or control click maybe, or command click the tab and mute. Uh, so my working ethical stance is that I love what AI was supposed to be as a tool, but hate how it's been twisted by some. So I say use it as a tool to bring people together by learning, growing, building things that are regenerative and nurturing, not so that we can rent intelligence from Sam in 5 years. We're renting intelligence from Sam right now. It's the infrastructure of intelligence is yeah, they're speed running techno feudalism, right? Sorry, I am completely terrified of letting AI have access to my creative work. Yes, totally. Right? So there should be worked into our site the ability to make your prompts private, and those prompts maybe never touch an AI layer and are never shown to the rest of the community, but then you are given the resource of open source community prompts, right? This is a real concern. When you put your ideas into uh chat gpt, into Claude, like, honestly, consider those creative ideas pseudo compromised, right? And this is not paranoia. This is like they're trying to monopolize your data, your ideas. They're anyways, it's something to be concerned about. AI for creative class, or maybe if you do things with local LLM. Yes, local LLMs are a great fix for that. Some people are making awesome ways to block AI from scraping and multiplying your stuff. I would look into it. Big fan of local LLM for those reasons. Conducted social experiments. I know what happens. There's a guy who made an AI blocking filter for music. Yes, all this stuff. Again, I would be we're hitting this point, and learn to code light today. Obviously, we haven't had much time of actually touching the code. But this is all solid conversation to have. What I think we're seeing with the leak of Claude and just a bunch of sort of advances in the open source slash leaky nature of AI right now is, I think we're seeing sort of the advent of Napster, but for AI, right? And I think this is going to become more of an issue quickly, right? Yeah. I still have Napster files somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like when you leak the platform, it's not necessarily it's not like people are like spinning up like Opus on their machines locally, right? It's like the way that the sort of like head of Claude is organized, you could use it to set up a local LLM, but there should be paranoia in that. Like, if we are in the age of like Napster for AI, piracy for AI, what does that mean? What are you connecting to? Like, is this going to be the Cure album, or is it going to be Trojan like gore video, you know, like exactly. So like I don't know, like we lived through it. I mean I lived through it. Like us millennials on the family, like just completely compromising family computers everywhere trying to download Slim Shady. But it's gonna be like that, but it's gonna be your kid trying to pirate Claude, right? Set up OpenClaw on the family computer, right? Yeah, we're talking Napster, we're talking Kazaa, we're talking LimeWire for AI, right? Uh, Tech literacy is more important than it's ever been, right? That being said, I think some really cool stuff came from the age of Napster and LimeWire and Kazaa. You can make your comments about like piracy and whatever, but as a kid that didn't have access to money to go and buy the CDs of all the bands that I wanted to listen to, being able to really quickly download the newest Sum 41 album, you know, it was good for my brain and good for me interacting with the world, right? So uh anyways, I digress. What do we want this application to do? We want it to be more communal. People feel scared about sharing their creative ideas with the AI. I do, but I still share my creative ideas with the AI, you know, seemingly daily, right? But yeah, it's something that's worth being scared of. Somebody Cisco time. Cool. Congrats on that. Have fun. Is it an interview? Or is it your job? All right, sales call. Cool. So yeah, what do we want to do with this application? We want to build it into a sort of template library. So something I noticed about the template farm is that there is an over reliance on uh, Claude API. I don't want this to just be a Claude API wrapper. I was actually thinking of it more as a template library for communal projects, right? So the user should have the choice of whether or not they're activating AI with their prompt, or if they're just getting reference from seeded data and other community members' templates that have been posted. You should also be able to have just private prompts. So maybe other people get, like, if it's a public prompt, that's saved to our database somehow, and so people that search similar things, instead of calling directly to Claude's API, maybe it would point to somebody else's public prompt output. We want to really build this into more of like the communal farm Stardew Valley feel. And if you have any questions associated with this, can you ask me in UI form? Thank you. All right. So, because really right now, what is our program? Right? It is this template form. It is this template form file. It's this this TypeScript Next.js template form that is taking the user input. What are you trying to build? And printing out a recipe card for the user.
Job is done.
It's not. It's a wrapper. It's a wrapper program. Sorry. So, we built an AI wrapper. Dang it. How should users be identified so we can separate public versus private prompts and track my harvest? All right. class, audience, peers, co-workers on the template farm.
I mean, I like the anonymous session, but if I go in, I would like to be able to keep track of what I've done before.
Yes.
So maybe creating an ID, but that doesn't necessarily have to link to an email or something. I don't know. Something like that.
All right. Yeah, an ID that doesn't link to an email. Yeah, it's anonymity is something we explored with resource. Or pseudonymity. Um, it's hard. It's to get like truly anonymous with something that's trying to like encourage community is it's it, it's definitely it's a risk, right? But it could be a really cool application, so I'm into it. Is there a way to do anonymous but with memory of the users so they don't lose their stuff? All right, storage. Where should templates and user submissions live? Uh, Data, right? Databases. It's saying Neon Postgres. Uh, it's going like full Vercel stack with this. So yeah, I don't know. Whatever the cheapest, whatever the cheapest and or free option is. How should we match a user's description to existing community templates? In parentheses, when they skip AI. We'll do a full text search. What should happen when a user does choose to activate AI? AI generation produces a new template, which gets saved to the public library. By default, users can mark private. Every AI call grows the community garden strongest network effect. All right, so it did give me an answer that I really liked here. So AI generation should produce a new template that gets saved to the public library by default, but we need to warn the users that when they use AI that their creative idea is getting sent to an AI, right? Which is just how it works. I also think that there should be a separation between anonymous free users accessing AI and then potentially like make it so that we could wire it up to paid users since there is a cost associated with people accessing AI through the site. All right. And we'll see what Claude does. Great. Those answers. Let me synthesize and flag a couple of follow-ups. What I'm hearing. Identity. Anonymous but sticky. So users shouldn't lose their stuff. Matching Postgres. AI role. Public by default with a clear warning banner. Free tier for anonymous users. Paid tier later. How I'd solve anonymous but sticky. This is how Claude would do it, right? HTTP only cookie with a random user ID survives tab/browser restart with a 1-year expiry.
I have a question for
Why?
you.
Why 1-year expiry? Passphrase recovery on first visit. We generate a cute 3-word passphrase. User can write it down or copy it, entering the passphrase on any device restores their harvest history. No email, no password, no PII. Cozy farm coded. Here's your farm key. Don't lose it. Optional email claim. This gives you real continuity without touching auth infrastructure or collecting PII. What is PII? Does anyone know what PII? Persistent something? What does PII stand for? personally identifiable information. Yeah, somebody answered in the chat. Cool. Yeah, cool. If you want stronger recovery later, Clerk slots in on top. What's Clerk? It's like Vercel's user system. I haven't looked into it. That's what Claude is saying. Neon Postgres via Vercel Marketplace is the answer. Free tier up to half a gig of storage, unlimited projects, full Postgres, auto-provisioned environment variables when you install from the marketplace. For template farms scale, it's effectively free indefinitely, beats SQLite, can't persist on Vercel, and Blob and JSON. No real. All right, so does the passphrase recovery model sound right for sticky anonymous? I think it does. How should the free AI tier be rate limited for anonymous users? 3 AI generations per day per user, 1 AI generation per day per user. Shared daily pool for all free users. Ooh, I like that. Okay. I kind of like the shared daily pool. So what did we learn from yesterday's benchmark is that 3 AI generations per day per user. With 1,000 users, that would be $10 a day to run the site, right? So I mean, $1,000 is or 1,000 users is ambitious, but also let's build this thing like it would scale, you know. So 3 AI generations per day per user would be $10 a day. Then we get to the point of this app costing $300 a month in Claude API credits to run. And that's I know I don't want that, right? We have to be concerned with the cost of what we're building. Also with the database in mind, like the free tier is half a gig. We are just handling text on the site. If there were any avatars, if there were people posting pictures, screenshots, movies of their app, sorry about you. That database is going to cost money too. You know, hosting the website itself, the DNS. You know, so not to get greedy or anything, but these are things you need to think of when you're building an application. And all those like kind of gray subscriptions, they come at the worst time. Let me tell you, like I randomly got a $700 AWS bill. $700. Do you have the money to like just, you know? Anyways, stuff to think about and take note of. I like to share daily pool. Should I go ahead and provision Neon via the Vercel marketplace? Yeah. What should the AI warning banner say? Heads up, activating AI sends your project to generate your description and the result become part of the public. The farmhand spirit uses magic to grow your template. Your seed idea trap. That's fun, but weird. Plain and honest. All right. Sorry, it was boring about it. So now Claude's doing their thing. How do we feel as a class, though? This is what we're doing right now. Is product thinking. You know, we're vibe coding. You know, but what I think what with this
I have a question for you.
With this template farm in mind, what would make you actually use this instead of just talking to Claude directly or Googling GitHub, right? That's what we need to, you know, like what would make you use this instead of just Googling for templates, right? It's the community, it's the feel. Locked in. Provisioning Neon. I need you to run these from the terminal. Can all right. So now we're going back here. What would make you use? What would get you to use template farm? Oops.
Job is done.
Instead of just asking AI or Googling. And then we don't want to build AI wrappers. We don't want to build AI wrapper slop. That's not what we build in this class. We do not build AI wrapper slop. We build communal applications, right? We build them as a community of coders, right? How much AI slop is out there? How much AI slop do we need before the internet becomes the dead internet? Joke's on us. It's already dead. We're working on a zombie internet right now. I think we should be economical with the amount of free uses. This is somebody in the chat. I think we should be economical with the amount of free uses per month. So 3 free per month, but they can earn by getting people to sign up with an invite and participating with like 10 seeds planted or whatever from each person. Then they earn more free spins until our freebies run out. And we're just honest about how it works, honest and transparent. But we poor and can't pay big tech more than necessary. LOL. Agreed. Love it. We're casino-fying the template farm. Yes. No. That's real, right? Somebody said, what would get you to use template farm instead of just asking AI or Googling for the answers? Somebody said, and I appreciate the candidness, marketing. Just straight up marketing. Like if we had cool things to say and cool ways to promote template farm, maybe that's what would get people to use it. And that's doable, right? I also like this casino-fying idea. And that's what it is. Like, let's be real. That's casino. We're gamifying it. We're making it the trade-off is you tell your friends about us, and we'll give you another prompt. We'll give you a prompt or two. You get your friend to sign up and pay for a subscription. Guess what? You got a subscription for a month. How cool is that? You didn't even have to pay anything. All you had to do was get 5 of your friends to sign up for a subscription. Now you can go to 2 more farms. How cool is that? Sorry. It's impossible. I'm wearing these like blue blocker glasses, and just when you talk about casino-fying something, it's yes, we are psychologically priming priming the pump, so to speak. So, given that games are used to psychologically prime you, wouldn't it make sense to create games that produce a desired outcome, like building empathy? Oh, now we need empathy. We need empathy to build our template farm solar punk application. What? Why use template farm? It would be clear that it's for coders, not vibe coders. Clear step by step on what to do, not run this npm xxxxx. More like Stack Overflow with hows and whys. Ooh, all right, Stack Overflow with hows and whys. What could we add to make it more like Stack Overflow? We could add link references. We could add a comments system. We could add documentation. We could add some sort of ranking system, right? Snippets. Love it. All right. All right. All right. So there's also ideas that we need to build in to kind of gamify the process of getting users to sign up. So free users get 3 prompts a month, but if people refer their friends, then they might be able to spin for more prompts or something, right? We also want to build in the sort of technical community aspect of it. So people should be able to share link references, documentation on the templates themselves, comments, snippets, all that cool coding stuff that we're losing just by giving the output as a template. So start building all of this. And actually, what I want you to do is contemplate how you can do this in waves. So maybe we build an open spec, or you build a roadmap so that agents can be working on different parts of the project at the same time without overlapping with each other. Build it out and let's go. Thank you, Claude. Yeah, that was the worst prompt ever. That is the sort of prompt that gets you kicked out of Anthropic. that Did I used to work at Anthropic? We don't know. No, I definitely didn't. I can't make statements like that. You don't know who I am. But now you do. Cool. So Claude is all right. So somebody in the chat, if we gamify it like Stardew Valley, we can make it interactive, and that every task is watering a plant or something, and at the end, depending on how many steps, tasks, phases you get, you can have veggies, fruits, etc., and you can actually have a farm if you keep coming back to use the tool. Yeah, farms. Like, I grew up playing Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon New Horizon on PlayStation. What was the Harvest Moon on PlayStation? Harvest Moon PlayStation. Back to Nature, right? This was my safe space. You know, this is your family being whack. You lock yourself in the living room or whatever, and you go to Harvest Moon and you try to convince the girl from the chicken farm to marry you by giving her hard-boiled eggs, right? And you hard-boiled those eggs in the same place that you also go hot tubbing. This is a beautiful game, right? Stardew Valley picks up from where Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing, all the cozy games that we love left off, right? Why are these cozy games? Because they make people feel comfortable, right? You know what doesn't make me feel comfortable? VS Code. An empty VS Code. Ugh. Ew. Gross. What am I supposed to do with this? I don't know. But What if starting a project was like opening up Harvest Moon back to nature? You know, you don't need much creativity, imagination to come to terms with why that is the more approachable, fun, uh exciting, like, you know, just chill thing to build, right? We can build AI wrappers, and we can get the AI to make us the slop site, you know? We can have like how many, like, I bet I could find like somebody brought up another one yesterday. Um and no offense to whoever brought this up, but I just it's not, this isn't inspiring to me. It looks like a, like, Nike slop, you know? And there's so many websites like this, right? There's so many, like, just like they're taking the UI UX from, like, notes from, like, the manosphere to build these things, right? Um we don't want that. We don't want to build that. That doesn't generate empathetic community. That doesn't generate a functioning community. This, what this does is it makes the users reliant on the system that you developed, right? And that's cool if your goal is making money and uh uh just full stop. If your goal is capitalism, full stop, yes, build these AI wrapper applications, right? Go for it. You probably have maybe a 5 to 6 month window to keep doing that before the internet is so full of AI wrapper slop applications, so saturated that you're just, you know, throwing another one on the trash heap, right? But if we pull back a little and we think about what makes us happy, we can build cute things, cozy things, things built with human creativity, emotion, love. Throw those into the world. Template Farm might be around another year, you know? We do not peddle slop. Say it with me. We do not peddle slop. We are never going to peddle slop. The internet is alive, and we're going to keep it that way, regardless of the fact that no one uses Stack Exchange anymore, that developers don't want to help each other out unless the project has something to do with AI, that there's no money in tech anymore unless you're building fascist war machines. You know, let's peel it back a little bit and just, like, we are authentic and we're building something cool here. Anyways, let's rebuild MySpace. Yeah, I mean, like, we don't need to rebuild the MySpace wheel. I think somebody did it, right? Space Hay. Space Hay. This is the MySpace rebuild. Somebody did it already. People use it, kind of. I don't, but
Job is done.
that is a model. That is a, not a business model. I mean, it is a business model, kind of. Rebuild the nostalgia thing, you know. I would challenge you to do what we're doing and combine that nostalgia model with something else. So you don't just become, this is clearly MySpace 2.0, right? Your Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, AI wrapper, artist community, coder community, empathy machine. right? The empathy machine. Internet as the empathy machine. Yeah. Web rings. Oh my gosh. Yeah, web rings. Let's talk about web rings. Oh, web rings.
Job is done.
Web rings. So, you used to be in like a coalition with like other developers, right? Um like you would rep other people's sites in your site, right? So let's see if I can find this. Oh my god, we found it. I'm gonna dox myself. I'm doxing my 12-year-old self right now. This was a tripod site that I made as a 11-year-old. And I used to post pictures of like my friends at school and uh just little memes and stuff. uh but you'd have these like web rings where other people would have websites that you linked out to. So I think I would link out to, all right, so it barely works, but I would link out to like the Harry Potter forums or whatever else I was using, cool teens forum. Uh anyways, we all had sites like this. We all had sites like this, and we loved them, and we poured our hearts into them on the family computers. That's what I'm saying. It is 2002, 2003 for all of this AI creative coding. We're just not realizing it yet because we're distracted by the pure and utter apocalyptic dystopia that we live in, right? So we didn't really learn to code today. I talked a lot about stuff that I'm interested in, and we set up the website in a way that makes more sense and is less reliant on AI. So uh, it set up these waves to work through, right? So spec md is saying, all right, so now we got this docs file. We'll go to this, and I'll take that down. Docs file. Control Shift V turns your markdown into the actual formatted documentation. So template farm, product and technical spec. Cool. What it is: a Stardew Valley vibe, community first project template app. A developer describes what they want. The farm returns a template. All right, sounds good. This is using open spec, so we get these like nice little we get this nice little organization and chunking of the markdown file. Non-goals: we are not a code generator. We hand back scaffolding commands, not files. That was big. We are not an IDE, a build tool, or a package manager. Yes, I agree with that. We are not trying to replace StackShare, Awesome List. We add the cozy community layer on top of a fast describe recommend loop, right? No PII collection, no emails required, no passwords. Ooh. Anonymous first with sticky recovery. Cute farm passphrases. Sunny turnip, 42 mossy barn. uh, that don't copy this. It's cover it up. You can't see it. All right. Subsequent visits. Cookie auto identifies the user. Cross device lost cookie. User enters passphrase. All right, we're dealing with the user identity here. What I really wanted to show you about this, we're gonna end class in a second. Is Claude setting up waves, right? We want multiple agents working on this thing. We want to do it quick, right? So there is lanes or waves. Sometimes it like trails off. I wanted it to set it up so that they can work concurrently on things and they don't need to have context of what the other users have. What if you delete cookies? Is a question in the chat. You have that recovery passphrase, right? So if you don't have that recovery passphrase, you're not going to get back to the account if you don't have the cookies, right? So uh that's really them's the breaks of sticky anonymity, right? How, like, we're asking to have an anonymous system. You still need to, like, be able to track the user somehow, right? So in a sense, we're giving them the breadcrumb. uh Angel Fire sites don't exist anymore, or GeoCities. Um, no, but I found an old Hogwarts role playing forum pro boards that I was Dumbledore for. Um, yeah, yeah. Hundreds of students, and I was strict about the sort of non it was non-canon. People would be like, I want to be Hermione. It's like, no, dude, the only canon character is me as Dumbledore. It is the year 2002. You can talk about what the characters did, but we're non-canon in this RPG. And this is non-canon too. This is not, we're not Stardew Valley, we're not Harvest Moon, we're not Animal Crossing. We are the template farm, and we have our own characters, and maybe we allude to these other things existing. That could be something we think about, our lore building. All right, so core loop. I'm so distracted today. File ownership, deliverables, right? That's what so it's working on Harvest CRUD and Search API. So for those of you that are new to coding, CRUD: create, read, update, destroy. These are the functions that, when combined, create every single interaction you could possibly have with an application, right? All right, I don't know, there's other things you could, well, yes, but for the most part, CRUD is all that's there, and all there will ever be. Search API, right? That is just our ability to search functions. AI generate API. All right, so that's lane 1B is working on kind of the AI of it all. Lane 1C session and identity API. So going back to lane 1B, we can tune the AI inputs a little bit too, you know? All right, so second wave is the community and gamification wave. It talks about all the file ownership there. This will all be posted to GitHub at the end of class too, so you can go through it and peruse it on your own time. I am going to be running these waves from my machine, and I'll post that to the repo after they run. But if you want to see the prompts for these waves, they're right here. So let's get into it. All right, so for the spawn 3 parallel agents. All right. Fire them off. So now Claude's gonna spawn the agents. They're doing their things. Let's do the gross a usage check. We are at 11% usage, and it's gonna reset in 2 hours. We're fine. We're fine. We're chill. All right. That's the class. So if you want to work on the template farm, the GitHub is at github.com/vrnico/template-farm. or as AI likes to call it, a half M dash. Just kidding. It's a little humor. Um, get in the GitHub. I see 2 people have forked. 1 person has starred. That means 1 person who forked didn't star. Why didn't the extra person who forked not star? That's weird. Bums me out. Something to think about when we deploy these projects together as a class. We make a little about page. The contributors and collaborators on the GitHub appear on the about page. This is the stuff that you can use on your portfolio, on your resume. If you do not have that sort of proof of coding, you've been here for an hour and 37 minutes, maybe, right? That's a lot of time to be learning how to code from me. Or, not necessarily learning how to code, but talking about working on this project. This is not so much learning to code anymore. It's building projects. And so a way that you get on this contributors and collaborators page is by interacting with the code itself through the repo. If you do not have a GitHub account, you need a GitHub account right now. Let me tell you, I love GitHub. Get a GitHub account and code with us, and maybe you too will be one of the lucky people that end up on the collaborator page for whatever project we deploy next, whether it's template farm or something that comes after it. Do we think, all right, now is the real question. Wednesday, that means tomorrow we would need to deploy this thing. How do we feel about template farm becoming a website? Do we think it has what it takes to be a website or not? All right, somebody says, I guess I need to look. No, they're talking about starring and forking. Somebody says it needs work. Somebody says they do think it can be a website. It gives more possibility. Oh, never mind. They're talking about starring and forking. But somebody says it needs work. Yes. Template farm needs work. Template farm is nowhere near where resource was at the end of class Wednesday. This is just basic sort of, pattern recognition here. We would need a lot more from template farm in the next 24 hours in order for me to want to set up the space for template farm to be its own website. It's not even an MVP. You're right on that. We kind of got distracted from the original vision. Maybe we did. It's close to my original vision, but yeah, when we're collectively working on a vision, that vision changes. The website idea is good. People who play computer games on the computer will help contribute in the beginning. An app will get bogged down, I think, too soon. Yes,
Job is done.
but also I don't want it's not about it bogging down. It's like more likely that people just won't use the app, right? It's the same thing that's happening with resource. This is a great application. It does what it's supposed to do, right? It pulls up the actual resources here, but people aren't going to the website. People aren't signing up for the website because I can see from the analytics of the website that people aren't using the website. So when people don't use a website that you're actively maintaining, you have to make those sorts of decisions on whether to continue putting work into it, or if it becomes kind of like an archive expertise. Yeah, people don't know it exists. Exactly. So here we learn to build the thing and ship the thing. We're not learning to market it, right? Um, that's on you, dude. I don't know. No, it's on someone else. Could I market this if I wanted to? No, I'm really bad at marketing. I just am not good at it. I talk too much, you know. Um anyways, cool. So y'all have been great. I'm getting these waves going. Uh yeah, it's been a fun class. Y'all have been great. I have been meek. If you're not going to check out the GitHub repo for our group project template farm, uh do your personal project, but whatever it is, code something today. All right? Code something today. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific. And we're going to get this thing to the point that it is at the end of tomorrow's class.